Ever wanted to know about Monroe, Connecticut? Let's get started. Hi, I'm Stacy Olson with the Valentini team at William Ravis Real Estate. And on my channel, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about living on the Connecticut coast, or in the general area. The town of Monroe has about 19,000 residents and is located in the northeastern part of Fairfield County. And while yes, we have all heard about Fairfield County and how expensive it is, Monroe is one of the towns that is more affordable. And when I say more affordable, I don't mean you're going to get a 3,000 square foot home for $300,000, but compared to lower Fairfield County, Monroe is definitely a more affordable option. Today, Monroe is a mix of modest-sized ranches, raised ranches, and colonials. And though there have been some newer neighborhoods that have cropped up over the last 15 years that do have some stately homes, most of the homes in Monroe are not going to be some huge multi-million-dollar home. As of September 2022, the median home price in Monroe was $482,000. So comparatively speaking, that is affordable for this area of Connecticut. The town really has grown a lot in the last 20 years. They've built up Route 25 and Route 111, which are pretty much the main drags that run through Monroe. But though it has grown, it still has that New England character and charm that we all love. There are many reasons to move to Monroe, but I'm going to hit on my top 5 reasons right now. Number 1, schools. Monroe is known to have excellent schools. Currently, they have 1 public high school, 1 public middle school, and 3 elementary schools, all located within Monroe. In recent years, several of the schools in Monroe have actually been labeled Blue Ribbon Schools, which is a huge award that schools really covet. If you want to know more about the schools, go to niche.com or greatschools.org to find out how they compare to all of the other schools in the state of Connecticut. Another great thing about Monroe is its accessibility to the Merritt Parkway, Route 8, and I-95. Though Monroe does not lie directly on any of those highways, depending on where you live, you can easily reach them within 10 to 25 minutes. Just to give you a sense, Monroe is about 15 minutes from Bridgeport, 25 minutes from New Haven, and probably an hour and 20 minutes from Manhattan. Now granted, this is all without traffic, but just to give you a sense. Monroe does not have a train station, but you can reach the Bridgeport or Fairfield train stations in under 30 minutes. My third best thing about Monroe is that they have a great parks and recreation system. As far as parks go, they have 2 huge parks that they maintain right in Monroe. The first one I'm going to mention is Webb Mountain. Webb Mountain is 135 acres that is actually right on the west bank of the Housatonic River. If you're looking for a great place to hike some steep trails, Webb Mountain is for you. If you hike these steep trails in the spring and fall and get up to like the highest point, you are going to have some spectacular views. Just up the road from Webb Mountain is the Webb Mountain Discovery Zone. Webb Mountain Discovery Zone is 170 acres with a nature center and a park. On their website, it actually says, quote, that they offer enrichment and links to school curricula in subjects of history, science, and nature. And it's all through after-school programs and courses for preschool-age children. My son used to go there for some of the nature walks and classes that they held, and he loved it because he would see frogs and salamanders, and they'd get involved with the vernal pools, and he just absolutely loved it. The other great park in Monroe is Wolf Park. This is actually 300 acres. Let me tell you, they have a lot going on there. First off, they have an outdoor town pool there, so in the summer, it's a great place to go. They have a couple of playgrounds for kids, as well as tennis, soccer, baseball, and football fields. I know, all in one park. They also have hiking trails, but just be warned, pets are not allowed at the park. So be prepared and don't bring Fido when you go to Wolf Park. They also host a summer concert series there, so you can bring your lawn chair, your blankets, gather with your friends and family, and enjoy the music at night. Another great thing about Wolf Park is they have a self-contained lake right on the property. It's called Great Hollow Lake, and it has all sorts of fun activities. Whether you're just there soaking up the sun or swimming, there's plenty to do. They have a beautiful beach with a concession stand and pavilion. And also good to know is that you can do non-motorized boating on the lake. And fishing is allowed. They fully stock it with trout. If water is your thing, another option in Monroe is Lake Zor. Back in 1919, they built the Stevenson Dam, which actually created Lake Zor. And this dam is actually on the National Register of Historic Places. So they built the dam on the Housatonic River, and that's how the Lake Zor was created. This is a large lake. And when you go there in the summer, there are so many people and so many activities going on. Not only do you have boats, but you have water skiers, jet skiers, kayakers, canoers, paddleboarders, and fishermen everywhere. So my fourth best thing is the town green. Monroe's town green is adorable. When I went there to do this video, it was like the most beautiful fall day. It was so picturesque. It looked exactly like you would think a New England green would look. It's lined with several beautiful churches and antique homes. And it's very accessible to reach the town library and the town hall right there from the green. And the best part is, this is where they host several festivals and fun engagements throughout the year. One thing they do every year is the Strawberry Festival. And this past year was actually their 50th anniversary. And obviously at the Strawberry Festival, you're going to enjoy things made with strawberries. So they have strawberry shortcakes, jams, pies, the dipped berries, smoothies. And they have things that aren't related to food, right? They have crafters and artisans and live music. Another great event they hold on the green is the Apple Festival. And again, like the Strawberry Festival, you would think everything's about apples, right? They have over 50 craft vendors, a food tent, and something they called Apple Central, which is obviously apples, apple cider, and other apple-themed foods. They have raffles, they have fall mums for sale, and live music. They also have a farmer's market on the green, and this runs from the third week of June to the third week of October, so really it recently just ended, and it's on Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m. But it's always great to stop down and support your local farmers. And last but not least, Monroe has some great restaurants. I'm only going to hit on a couple here, but I'm going to go and talk about some of my favorites. First, I'm going to talk about the Smithy. The Smithy is a steakhouse that has been there forever. I've been going there with my family since I was a kid, and I've never had a bad meal. It's very dark inside. They have a fireplace going in the winter. They used to have like that open cheese wheel. I don't know if they're doing that anymore with COVID, but there's a salad bar. I mean, this place is great, and they serve amazing steaks and seafood. Another favorite of mine is El Coyote. This is a great Mexican restaurant right there in Monroe. I've been there several times with family and friends, and I love the atmosphere. The food is always great, and my son, that was the first Mexican meal he ever ate, was at El Coyote, so it's always forever imprinted in my mind. Another icon in Monroe is Bill's Drive-In. Let me tell you, when I shot this video, it was the middle of the day on like a Tuesday, and the parking lot was packed, so that tells you something. They serve great like fast food staples, right? They have hamburgers and hot dogs and fries. And I remember when my parents would bring this home as a kid, it was like amazing. I was so excited when they would come in with that Bill's Drive-In box because I knew the food was going to be so good. Another favorite of mine is Roberto's. Again, a staple in my family growing up. We used to go there with family and friends all the time. We've never had a bad meal. They have great Italian options, like, your favorite solid Italian foods, parmesans and pastas and lasagna and ravioli. I mean, you can't have a bad meal there. And lastly, Lake Zor Drive-In. This little shack is really right on the water as you're coming over the Stevenson Dam. And the place, again, is always super busy. Trucks stop there. People specifically make the journey to go there because they have heard how good it is. Again, fast food favorites, hot dogs, hamburgers, but they also do breakfast. They have egg sandwiches. So if you're in the area, you should definitely stop by because they are great. And on a side note, I'm going to talk about something else that Monroe is famous for. The Warrens. Yes, the Warrens. Ed and Lorraine Warren were self-taught demonologists. They were really among one of the first investigators that really kind of brought that demonology thing up into center stage. I'm going to say like in the 70s. They were one of the first people that investigated Amityville haunting. We all know that, right? And all those Conjuring movies? That's about the Warrens. It's super spooky and super creepy. But if you're into that kind of thing, it's pretty cool that they were right there in Monroe all these years. Unfortunately, they have both passed away, but I know that their daughter is still retaining all of that information. And they used to have a museum that was right there on their property. But a couple years ago, they actually were shut down due to town zoning regulations. And as of today, I think they're still looking for a new location. So stay tuned because they might be opening it up somewhere around you in Connecticut. Needless to say, as a kid, I was really into all that stuff, into scary movies, and just knowing that they were there used to be like, ooh, it used to creep me out. And I actually saw Lorraine Warren speaking once at Southern, 20 plus years ago. And she was amazing. So, it was I always feel like lucky to have seen her in person and heard some of the stories. But if you're into that kind of thing, I think it's just a neat fact to know about Monroe. So if you're thinking about moving to Monroe, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Or if you're not sure and you like the area, another great option is Trumbull. Check out Trumbull. It's right next door to Monroe, and they have a lot going on as well. And until next week, have a great day.